it's Ellen. I'm back finally. I have had a very hectic and weird week. It started out kind of boring, and then I ended up having trouble getting the glass for the cabinet. Got it cut. Had it cut like a hair out. It wouldn't sit in the frame, so I had to go back and get that done, and they shaved it down, and we finally got that all done. And then unexpectedly helping a friend get ready to move and sell their house this week. So we've been doing cleaning out so that we can do some staging this weekend. And that's exciting. It's exciting for them. So I've been a busy girl trying to sell some pieces here and people wanting to come look and then they don't show up and just some stuff going on that's a little bit odd this week. But anyway, I am back and I have almost completely finished this hutch. I've been working on it since I spoke to you all last. So I kind of want to go over just some of the things that I did to it from the beginning and just explain. You have to go back and watch the first two or so videos. I think I did two videos, and then one just on how to paint round feet and round columns and that sort of thing. So watch those if you haven't watched this, because this hutch is completely transformed from what it was. I'm using my mini tripod today so I can actually carry it easily and show you some things inside. But if you remember the hutch before, this is what it looks like now. So it's quite a lot of difference. I have restained this portion of the top darker, and on this very top I did a barnwood, faux barnwood technique, so it looks really rustic on top, and I'll show you that in a minute. I have painted, of course, everything in Cathedral Taupe is the base color. We did a little bit of white and green in here, and I put some gold accent on the leaves and on the grapes using gold wax, or gold pen and gold wax. Put new hardware on. These are new knobs, and I put teardrop knobs on the doors. I'm just going to bring you in really close for a minute here and show you some of these details because I think they're pretty cool. So I have to look away so that I can see what you see, but this is what the drawers look like now, and this is our new knob hardware. We got these at Lee Valley. I think they were about $4.13 each, but they're really heavy brass. They're beautiful. And then we got these teardrop pulls. If you remember before, they had ordinary little wooden knobs on the door, really kind of unattractive. So we got these new pulls on the doors, and I think they're really pretty. They just added to it. This used to be, I believe it was black with a little bit of brass on the grapes. So I have just brushed them with the same green as we did up here. I've just brushed them with green, and I've added some gold highlights and added some gold wax to this part of the grapes. We did get new glass for the doors, and the doors have been completely overhauled. So they look really nice, I think. Trying to get a good shot there. Down on the bottom, we also did the same green dry brushing, and I added gold wax to the grapes down here too. Now, what I haven't showed you yet is I did distress everything. I distressed these bars, these wooden bars. So if you pull back and look, it looks pretty nice. So it's really I wanted it to look very rustic. So that was the goal. I distressed all the way along here and along the feet and along the doors. So all of that is distressed now. You can see that. I have done distressing along the drawers, and even along these leaves here. I did some distressing up there too as well, along these leaves. So it's all been distressed. I did do a little bit of, I'm going to try and turn this without knocking stuff up the top. On the side, you can see the gray shadowing, which I wanted it to look like it was very rustic. This is black wax, or no, this is actually, it's not black wax, it's antiquing wax that I've just blended in, just very, so that it looks like old dirt. That's what I always say antiquing wax looks like, is old dirt. And then it's distressed looking. So when you look at it, it looks like it's a shadow pretty much. And what I want to show you is how I did the gold leaf, finishing up the gold leaf here. So I am going to point my camera down. I'm on my little tripod, so I apologize that I'm all over the place. There we go. Okay, I'm going to go up here and I'm going to point it downward and show you what I have going on here. Hope that we can get it in. This little mini tripod's handy, but it's not always the easiest thing to use, that's for darn sure. I'll pull this a little bit closer. You can see that there. Maybe we'll bring a light in so we can see it a little bit better. So what I have for this is, pardon my messy grudge, I got lots of plants to plant still. This is called a gold pen. It's a paint pen, and you can get packs of these at like Michael's or any of the craft stores have them. Okay, so what I wanted to show you, I put it on my other tripod, which probably is better anyway. I wanted to show you how to use these gold pens. So you just shake them. They're a paint pen. So they're really, really good for adding highlights to little bits that you don't want to get in there with a brush or do a lot of stuff. You just dab it into something to prime it. And I'm just going to finish this up because I have to finish this section up. So you just go into wherever you need to go. And these are fairly fine grooves, so it's just going to add a little bit to each portion of the grooves that I'm working in here. It goes really fast. I also did this on the doors. So if I have one that's like too straight, I'll just take my cloth and blend it a little bit. Just blend it out a little bit. And then I'll go back and check and make sure I've got it where I want it. So I'm doing all these grooves because I want to add a little bit of gold accent to the piece here. And you can wipe it off. It's just paint. So basically if you catch it right away and it's somewhere where you don't want it to be, you can just wipe it right off. But I love these paint pens. They come in black, silver, white. If you ever had a piece of white that you needed to highlight. Some people do the paint pens over top of their, if you do like an applique transfer on your piece and you want to just highlight some of the colors on it, some people use these paint pens for that too. So I'm just going to smudge that in a little bit. And that is about as easy as it gets. I mean, it's super fast. Let me add a little bit more here. I don't know if you can see that very well, but it's pretty neat how fast it goes. There's a little bit of the antiquing wax here that I put in around here. And this is just the gold gilding wax, which I have a container of, I think it's pronounced Pavio gilding wax. You just use your finger. Whoa, stuck. You use your finger, dip it in, take a little bit off because you don't want too much at once, and add it where you want it. And it just goes super fast. I can't say all of this is always super fast. If you hear me say that, it's just because I'm used to painting. But, you know, if you have a project like this, you should be able to get it done in a few days to a week if you work at it. I spend a lot of hours doing these, but I try to be a little bit fussy as well with my painting. So that side is done. Now, this distressing that I did, you don't want your distressing to look like, well, you don't want it to look patchy, or not patchy. I heard someone say you don't want it to look like a cheetah, so that's probably the best explanation I've heard of it. So what I did was, and the easiest and fastest way, you can do this by hand with a 180 or 220 sandpaper. Just cut a piece up and use it. I use this. This is my rotary sander, and you just very gently apply it where you want to distress it, and you can do this whole strip in like 10 seconds. So you have to be really careful. But the thing is, if you made a mistake here on your distressing and you really didn't like it, and you just decided that it was not working out, just go repaint it. Everything can be repainted. So that's the thing. If you make an error, you can always go back and fix it up. So I'm going to show you over here. So this door here, moving you down. This door here, I have the gold in the leaves, but this one here I don't. I did do a few, but I just want to show you how simple this is. Excuse all the wiggles and jiggles again, but I just want to get you right in here. That's a better shot. Okay, so I've got my pen, and you do have to prime it every once in a while just to get the ink down. So just prime it into something, whatever, onto your apron or whatever, and then just take your pen and just do the highlight. This is a little bit easier than using like a glaze or something like that. It's a little bit easier. I tend to kind of want to blend them out when I do that a little bit so it looks more natural, but you could, in this, I could have gone with more of a burgundy color in the leaves, which is what wine hutches tend to have is a little bit of burgundy in the leaves as they age, but not wine hutches, wine leaves. Grape leaves, I guess is what it's called. But I would just do that all over, keep going down all of these leaves here, and just putting accents where you want them. And like I said, if it looks too much like grade school lines, you just take your cloth and blend them out a little bit. And you could add a little bit of color to the tips if you wanted, or you can use your gilding wax to do that as well. I just wanted it to look a little bit classier than it was. I didn't mind how it looked before, but I didn't want it to be, I wanted it to be more updated and more modern looking. So that's what I did there. And again, I've already done these. I've done all the gilding in there. This is the green we dry brush on. This is lichen, I believe it was. Yeah. Dry brush lichen first, and then this is the antiquing wax, added a little bit of a shadow. The grapes are gold. Now I'll show you the inside of this. I did end up staining the inside of the wine cabinet part, just this part, because I felt like it was just too orange before. So I really didn't want to leave it looking really orange. So I just took my stain. It's the Kona color gel stain, and this was really rough wood anyway, which is good because it takes the stain really well. So the stain really sat nicely in all of these areas. So the wine hutch part of it is done, or the wine holder part of it is done. And this is the inside of the cabinet. So I have put the shelves so that I could put bottles of any other type of liquor down there, any other type of carafe. There's a carafe down there. This would be your main wine glass shelf, and this one's a little bit shorter, so you could put things like port glasses or sherry glasses. I have a few of these little antique ones that I found at an antique store once. But you could fill that with all kinds of really neat little things. You could put even a little ornament in there if you wanted to. The drawers are great for, you know, holding your, what do I have in here? I brought a few things out. Just your wine toppers, things like that. Keep in your drawers, napkins that you have for drinks, that sort of thing. I'll take you up top and I will show you how I did this wood up here. One of these days I'm going to do a video on this as well. But I just want to show you what the wood looks like. So this is what the wood looks like now. It sort of looks rustic. I don't know if you can see that very well. It has sort of a real rustic old look to it. On the top here, I did not do anything to the pine knots. Now these would be the knots that would bleed. I didn't do anything to the pine knots because I knew that I was going to be restaining this part. So I really let the dark stain sit in here. I didn't try to pull it out when I stained it, really darkened it up. And then on here I used the 2 colors of stain to bring it to that color. Now this piece, I don't know if you've watched it from the beginning, this piece had, it had a whole bunch of pine knots. It had pine knots in the legs, in the front. And all I do, and a lot of people go crazy and they'll just prime the whole piece. If it has pine knots, they'll prime the whole thing. And they're kind of freaking out because pine knots tend to bleed. So you can be doing your dresser or your hutch or whatever, and if you paint it a lighter color, the tannin in the knots will bleed through and you'll have like orangey brown runs. It's not attractive. And then you have to redo it. So it's kind of a pain. But what I do is I just take the, I believe it's Rust-Oleum primer. It's the 2x primer in either white or gray. So if I'm doing something a little bit darker, I'll prime it gray maybe. But I only prime the knots. I don't prime everything, and that just saves me so much time. And as you can see here, there's absolutely no bleed through anywhere. So it really helps to prevent the bleed through, but without having to prime the whole thing. I see people that have primed an entire piece when they might have 10 knots. And the other thing too with knots is the darker the knot, the less chance there is of bleed through. That means it's a really old and it's done. If you find a knot that has like a really light ring around it, or there's a bit of darkness and then there's a really light piece around it, that will, the light part is what the tannin is in and it will bleed. So if it's really old and dark knots, you probably don't have to worry anyway, but I just prime over them anyway, just because. So that's it. I'm going to take some pictures of this. This hutch was really actually quite fun, except for the glass doors, which just about drove me crazy because I live about 20 miles from town. And when I went in to get them cut, I thought I could get them cut right then, and I had to wait a couple of days, and then I screwed up on the measurements, so it's just been kind of a nightmare with the doors. But we got everything back in, and this one is ready to go as soon as I finish a little bit of gold detailing on the other side. But I think it turned out pretty neat. So if you have a hutch like this or anything like this, give it a whirl. It's worth it. I mean, to buy this probably online would be, I would say, $800, and you can pretty up your own for you know, not much, just a lot of time and effort goes into it. So I hope this was helpful. I really enjoyed this piece, and thank you for watching. A lot of you will watch it on the replay. Please like our videos, share our videos, watch our videos on YouTube. We post all of our videos up on YouTube now. And be sure to subscribe so that you get notifications when we do the YouTube videos. I'm trying to learn to do the video editing better, but we'll be adding more information, and also we'll be adding eventually the lists of everything I've used, so that you can just click on the list and purchase it from there, because it'll be much easier for you. So thanks guys, I hope you have a really great weekend. Oh, I have to show you something. This is what I'm working on next. It is a, pardon my mess, I'm going to move this over here. Look at this. Can you see this? This is what we're working on next. It's a little old, I think it's about 60 or 70 years old. It's a little table that is going to be done in 100% farmhouse look. So if you like the farmhouse look, this table is a mess. It's awful. Look at that. You see that? I don't know if you can see it very well, but look how much damage there. It's not really, well, it is rough. It's just really, it needs a lot of help. It's really scratched up. It's got a little bit of roughness from where the paint is, or the old stain is coming apart. So we're gonna stain it. We're gonna stain it, strip this down with wood stripper. Or not stain it, we're gonna strip it down, and then I'm gonna do it all white with a lot of the farmhouse detailing on it. So that's gonna be the next project, and I will probably get to that maybe Wednesday. I have to help my friend continue packing for now. So anyway, that's it, and I will be on the hunt for more projects. So stay tuned. Thanks, guys. Bye.